Hello everyone, welcome back to SteamCode and welcome to the first episode of our Pandas for Beginners tutorial series. In this video, we'll get started with Python Pandas, but before we get started, let me explain to you very quickly what Pandas is. So Python Pandas is a Python library for data analytics. So in this, you can very quickly and in a very organized manner analyze your data, stream it and send it to various applications or other libraries for AI analysis, hand analysis, or really whatever application you'd like. So if you have large swaths of big data, this is a very useful Python library to learn. It's something that you need to have in your toolkit as a software engineer or developer. So with that being said, let's jump in. First, before using Python Pandas, you need to install it. And I'll be using pip to install it. If you don't know how to use pip, then head back to a previous tutorial where I explained that. But in this tutorial, I will assume that you already have pip installed on your device. And all you need to do to install pandas is say pip install pandas. And that's all you need to do. So with that installed, now we can start writing our code. So create your main.py file. And now we're going to need to import pandas. So we can say import pandas as PD. Now the main object in any pandas application is the data frame. Now if you're familiar with arrays, a data frame is pretty much like a 2D array. It can be indexed by rows and columns, and so each element within a data frame has one row and one column that it belongs to. And you can find any element by indexing those rows or those columns. So let's create our first pandas data frame. We'll say df is equal to pd dot data frame. And if you're familiar with dictionaries in Python, the formula or the syntax for creating these data frames is very similar to the syntax for creating a dictionary. So I'll just create a simple data frame talking about YouTube channels. So the first column will be called channel name. And in this column, we're going to have three elements. So we're going to create a list here. The first element in that list will be SteamCode. Then the second element in that list will be coding with Steam. And the last element will be code Steam. So here, let's just take a look at what I did here. So I created a new data frame. We have one column so far in that data frame, and that column's name is channel name. And within that column, we have three elements: SteamCode, coding with Steam, and code Steam. So now let's create a second column in this data frame. Let's just call this subscribers. Now in this column, we need three elements since we had three elements in our first column. So we can say 2000 for the first element. Let's just say 50 for the second one. And let's put 6150 for the third one. And to top it off, let's add a third column. Let's call this one views. Now in this column, another list. Let's just throw in some random values. So I'll say 60,000 for my first value here. 190,000 for the second value. And 30,000 for the third. All right. So this is as simple as it needs to be for creating a data frame. We have three different columns, and each column has three rows. And the rows are here in order. Both the columns and the rows are here in order. So the first column will be channel names, second will be subscribers, and the third will be views. And they're going to be indexed by their rows in the order that I wrote them. So now let's just take a look at how this data frame looks. Below here, let's say print df. Now in your terminal, navigate to the directory that your code resides and say Python main.py. We first need to save it. Python main.py. And you can see here we have channel name as our first column header, subscribers as our second, and views as our third. And a cool thing about Pandas is it automatically creates an index column whenever you create a data frame. So you don't need to create a specialized column for the indices of each row. Pandas automatically does that for you. Now, another thing about Pandas is that it contains series. Now, a series is simply the name that Pandas uses for its columns. So channel name is a series, subscribers is a series, and views is a series. And sometimes we don't want to look at the entire data frame. Sometimes we just want to look at one series. In order to do that, you can say the same exact syntax, so print df, but this time, inside of square brackets, list the header for your series. So say I just want to look at subscribers, save it, rerun main.py. And here you can see all 3 subscribers, each with their own indices. And if you want to see just one element, you can index in that way as well. So let me just find the element in index 1, the second element in this column, save, run main.py. And we see here that it's 50, which is the second subscriber count in our subscribers series. All right, with that being said, this was just a very basic introduction to get your feet warm in Pandas. In future introductions, we're going to get a little more complicated and a little more complex with how we deal with these data frames and how we analyze the data. But this was a way for you to get started with some basic Pandas data analytics. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. This has been SteamCode, and I'll see you in the next video.